Hello again, YouTubers and Cardfight fans. 24/7 here again for Cardfight 24/7 with a Cardfight Vanguard deck profile brought to you by ToyGamingEmporium.com. Today we're going to do a deck profile of Spike Brothers. It is a clan that I use in pretty much every tournament, mainly because I haven't had time to build other decks and I'm most comfortable with it. But anyways, we'll get right into it here. Our starting Vanguard is Mecha Trainer. It's basically a clone from Kagero, the Conroe. So when you ride it, you can go to open rear guard, and you can counterblast 1, retire the unit, and search deck up to 1, grade 1 or less, Spike Brother, reveal to your opponent, put in your hand, and shuffle your deck. With that, I usually get Wonder Boy and put behind Vanguard. Unless I'm facing a deck where I think I'm really going to need it, I grab one of my P guards. Here's a full look at the deck. The trainer will be off to the side here. So, got a laser point here, hopefully you can see. So, up there we got 4 heals, 4 draws, and a total of 8 criticals. The critical down here, that one you can put into your soul when it's on a rear guard circle, and then flip over one of your damage if need be. I call this deck ground game beatdown, as it is basically a football clan. They're all carrying footballs or cheerleaders, etc. Since you're doing a lot of hit and run attacks with the deck, I consider that to be like the running game inside the passing game. So ground game, beat down, because you're just beating down your opponents with attack after attack. So then the grade 1s, we got 4 Wonder Boy, pretty much staple, 4 Medical Manager. You play that to, you play on the field, rear guard or Vanguard, you may soul charge 1. We got 4 Reckless Express. He's got the hit and run ability. You can soul blast 1 to gain 5,000 when he attacks. And the side effect of that is that it then gets shuffled back into your deck. Then I run 2 P guards. A couple weeks ago I finally put P guards in. I actually wasn't running any for a long time, because with this deck my mind state is just attack, and just try to hit them the hardest, the fastest, and defense is kind of like a secondary thing. Prior to that I had Dudley Daisy in there. The one for one she's got 7k, which I think she might be the other grade 1 for Spike that is 7k or better. I could be mistaken, but and her counterblast, you can counterblast 1, and when this unit is placed on rear guard during the battle phase, you can counterblast the 1 and gain 5,000. So with Dudley Emperor's effect, which we'll explain more in a second, if you have an open row instead of 2 open fronts, you can call her to the rear guard and get an extra 5k from the back as well. But with all the cross rides and stuff out now, I felt the P guards are more necessary now, because there's just a lot more stuff that's hitting bigger and harder more consistently, so I figured better safeguard it a little bit and have those 2 P guards. And then for the grade 2s, we got Treasure Black Panther, 4 of those. 4 High Speed Bracky, has the same effect as Reckless Express. It's got 9k, it can be 14k with the ability. Then we got 3 Fierce Leaders Zachary. I've seen some people's deck profiles, and I've only watched a few, but I haven't seen anyone using Fierce Leader Zachary. Most people are either using Devil Summoner. When you play that to Vanguard or rear guard, you look at the top card of your deck. If it's a grade 1 or 2 Spike Brothers, you can call it to an open rear guard. And others are using Field Driller. I was actually using him a couple weeks ago, but at the same time I put the P guards in, I took out the Field Drillers for the Zacharys. Because with him, if he's my Vanguard, you need 4 other rear guards, not including Field Driller, for his ability to work. And if he hits the Vanguard specifically, you get to draw a card. So, for one, I don't like him being my Vanguard, because 7k is just weak. And sometimes, in the early stages of the game, it's hard to have a full field. And if he's your rear guard, then you need the field to be full for the ability to work. And besides that, you can only target the Vanguard if you want the ability to work. And your opponent typically doesn't want you to get that extra card draw, so they typically defend it anyway. So he's weaker, and very rarely does the effect typically work, at least for me. So I took him out for the Fierce Leader Zachary. And his ability, in a way, I consider him to be a little bit like the grade 3 Skydiver, in the fact that he can create an open rear guard circle, except your opponent has a say in whether or not that happens, similar to Field Driller. But he is 9k, so he's one of the stronger options, obviously. His ability, you can Soul Blast 1, and when this unit attack hits a Vanguard, so again, Vanguard specifically. If you have Sprinkler's Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, draw a card at the beginning of the close step of that battle, and then return this unit to your deck and shuffle your deck. So, in a way, it's basically a field driller that's stronger, that hits and runs. And with the Emperor, which if you don't know what it does, we'll get that in a second again, you want to have those open rearguard circles. So, if you're playing field driller instead, you're going to end up intercepting with him anyway and likely not getting any card draw. And with him, I usually don't use the ability anyway, unless I don't have my Dudley Emperor in hand. I need to draw extra cards any way possible. Sometimes even if it does hit, I don't use the effect, but it's a nice secondary option if you don't have the brackies to hit and run in the earlier game there. And then the grade 3s, before you start complaining, I only have 3 Juggernauts right now. I will have a 4th one on Tuesday. I'm recording this on Friday, the day before my local pre-regional qualifier. So yeah. I want to have 4 Dudley Emperor and 4 Juggernaut, but as I only have 3 Juggernaut, I dropped it down to 3 Dudley Emperor, and all 3 Juggernauts I own, and then 2 Skydivers. For a while, I only had 2 Juggernauts. When I finally got a 3rd one, I took out the Dudley Emperor, because I figure just having 1 Skydiver in there just doesn't seem to work that well. It's basically 2 or nothing for me, my personal preference. Skydiver, if you don't know, he's got 11k, and when he's on the rear guard, if his attack hits, it doesn't have to be the Vanguard. You may put him into the Soul, and then you may play another Spike Brothers from your hand in his place. So theoretically, you could have a Skydiver on a front rear guard. The attack hits, you put in the Soul, you play another Skydiver. He attack, hits, put in your Soul, and you play a Juggernaut from your hand, or whatever. But like Zachary there, your opponent has a say in it, unlike the hit and run guys where if you want them to go away from the field and get the boost, it works if you have 1 card in Soul to blast, and your opponent can't do anything about that. But with Zachary and Skydiver, if they block the attack, well, then the effect's not going to work, and they'll be stuck in that open rear guard circle. So ideally in the front row, you're going to have Reckless Express, or better yet, a Braggy, or best yet, Juggernaut, to get those open rear guard circles. So if you happen to not know what Dudley Emperor does, I don't know why you wouldn't if you're a serious Cardfight player, but I'm sure many people watching aren't actively playing that much or whatever, or newer to the game. So his first ability there, Limit Break. Counterblast 2 and choose 2 Spike Brothers from your hand and put them into your Soul. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, doesn't have to hit, it's all like one motion basically. You say he's attacking, and while he's attacking, you put 2 in your hand from your Soul, and then you counterblast 2 of your damage. And then you may search your deck for up to 2 Spike Brothers and call them to separate open rearguard circles and shuffle your deck. So that's why the hit and run guys are so important, because if you don't have those open rearguard circles, well, then his ability is useless because there's nowhere to call guys to. So like I was saying with Dudley Daisy, which I'd no longer run, if you have an open row, like if you only had 1 guy in the front row on the rear guards that could hit and run, and the other guy got stuck there, you didn't intercept the previous turn or whatever, then you may have an open full row where Dudley Daisy would be ideal to put in the back row, and you can get an extra 5k on her, plus an extra 5k on Juggernaut, who you should be calling out with Emperor. In the ideal setup, you have Emperor as your Vanguard, 2 Juggernauts next to him, and the back row full of Wonder Boys would be probably the perfect scenario, because that would be your strongest possible outcome. Then your middle row would be 21,000, because when he's boosted, he gets an extra 3,000. So 10 plus 3, 13, 8 from Wonder Boy will make it 21. And then Juggernaut, which, again, same ability as Bracky and Reckless Express, except he's 11k to start. So he's 16 with the ability. So you can hit for 24 in that row with the Wonder Boy behind him. So the only change I want to make as soon as I get my 4th Juggernaut, I got more boxes of set 1 coming in on Tuesday, so full case actually, so I'll for sure get one after who knows how many boxes it may take. Could be 1, could be 5, whatever. I'll get a 4th one, that's bottom line, but it won't be until after my regional qualifier, unfortunately. So this is the deck I will be running from regional qualifier, like it or not. And if you don't know the regional qualifiers, they are double elimination best of 1. So if you get grade locked or someone does something crazy to you, you're just going to be SOL. But So it'll be more luck-based, really, than best of 3, in my opinion. I don't know why, like, in the higher-up ranks, like regional stuff, if there's a top cut, they don't do best of 3 anyway. I can understand best of 1 in the Swiss rounds, just so it doesn't take as long of a day. In other card games, Pokemon, for instance, their state championships, some of them, they're a 2-day event. The day 1 is Swiss, day 2 is top 16, or whatever they may have. But this is what I'll be running. And again, the only change I want to make, drop the 2 Skydivers, and put my 4th Deadly Emperor, and as soon as I have it, the 4th Juggernaut in there. But it runs well for me. I usually go at least 3-1 at my local weekly tournaments, which are best of 3. Last week I went 1-2-1. The first, we have my locals. They have 2 locations on separate sides of town, so there's a Saturday tournament and a Sunday tournament. The Saturday one, round 1, we had the first draw that the store's ever had because we didn't even complete game 2. Game 1 I lost, and game 2. I was ahead on damage when time was called, so I got that game. If there was another 30 seconds, I just had to complete one more attack, I think. Or complete my turn at least. He wouldn't have been able to block all of my attacks, all my Juggernauts and that, so I would have gotten the win if time wasn't called, but there's some debate in there if we should have gone to a game 3 sudden death or first damage wins or what, but since game 2 wasn't completed, and we decided a victor for that game, and then it was 1-1, so we called it a draw. But then later on, other people, they were in game 3, so it was obviously 1-1, and if they were tied on damage in game 3 and time is called, they called that a draw as well. But now we're doing it where if you're tied and it's game 3, you play the next damage, because that just makes more sense, and I think that's how it should be. But a lot of people in the area, they're still newer to the game and stuff, so. But that's that. And then Sunday, I went 3-1. I lost in the second round, and 2 of my opponents started 0-3. One finished 1-3, one finished 0-4. So I had the worst tiebreakers, so I actually got 5th place, as there were 5 people that finished 3-1. So, but anyways, hopefully I'll have good luck tomorrow at my regional qualifier. I don't know if I'll get this up on Friday or what, so maybe within regardless of when this is uploaded, hopefully within a day of it being uploaded, I can use it for a tournament report. Let you know I did my regional qualifier and what's next for me there. Sorry this video went kind of longer than I was planning, but I go on and ramble, but hopefully it was insightful for you guys and you got some good information here. So if you haven't already, please subscribe. Give us a big thumbs up for our first deck profile. If you liked it, let me know, and I'll try to do some more deck profiles as I get other decks complete. And I'll try to get some matches recorded soon as well once I have more decks built, and I can have some friends come over and we can do battles with ideally fully built decks and show you how they all work in action. Also check the link or the description box below for our Facebook page and our blog, and then you can follow those, like those, etc. And check out toygameandreportum.com for all of your Cardfight, Vanguard, and other toy and gaming needs. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next video.